Good morning, everybody. I'm going to read to you the book Blink. It's a #1 national bestseller by the author of David and Goliath. The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. First, I'm going to eat my peanut butter without sugar and keto bread. It's for breakfast and my coffee. At the moment, excuse me, sorry, I don't mind anyone watching me eat. Sorry about the mess in the background. Um, yeah, it's quite a mess back there. Yes. Well, I um, I can read it while eating, just to get to the point. I apologize for the smacking. And it is truly the book, as you can see here. I hope everyone had a great day. And if it's night, I hope everyone is having a good evening or afternoon, whether it's afternoon over there, wherever you are out there. So for further ado, may we begin. I'm just going to skip to chapter 1. Hello, Shanti. I apologize if I pause and say hi to my dogs. I love them very much. I have Shanti. She's looking at me right now. They've been fed. And then there's Lobo, and he's with his ears up behind me, looking at me. He wants more food. Shanti always has one ear up and one ear down. That's how she was born. She's part Chihuahua and part Jack Russell Terrier. What an interesting mix. But I love her. Yes. I had a friend who gave her to me because he could no longer take care of her, and I still have her till this day. And I'll never get her no matter what. I love her so much. Yes. Right, Shanti? Shanti means peace. It sure does. And Lobo means wolf. Okay, so may we begin. Do you want to listen to Mama, guys? Oh, obviously they're listening. Okay, so here we are. Introduction. The statue that didn't look right. In September of 1983, an art dealer by the name of I apologize if I don't get this correctly. Gianfranco Becina approached the J. Paul Getty Museum in California. He had in his possession, he said, a marble statue dating from the 6th century BC. It was what is known as Kouros, a sculpture of a nude male youth standing with his left leg forward and his arms in his sides. There are only about 200 kuroi in existence, and most have been recovered badly damaged or in fragments from grave sites or archaeological digs. But this one was almost perfectly preserved. It stood close to 7 feet tall. It had a kind of light-colored glow that set it apart from other ancient works. It was an extraordinary find. Bacchina's asking price was just under $10 million. The Getty moved cautiously. It took the Kuros on loan and began a thorough investigation. I apologize. Was the statue consistent with other unknown koroi? Question mark. The answer appeared to be yes. The style of the sculpture seemed reminiscent of the Anavisos Koros in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, meaning that it seemed to fit with a particular time and place. Where and when had that statue been found? No one knew precisely, but Bacchina gave the Getty's legal department a sheaf of documents relating to its more recent history. The Kuros, the record stated, had been in the private collection of a Swiss physician named Loeffenberger since the 1930s, and he, in turn, had acquired it from a well-known Greek art dealer named Roussos. A geologist from the University of California named Stanley Margulis came to the museum and spent 2 days examining the surface of the statue with a high-resolution stereo microscope. He then removed a core sample measuring 1 centimeter in diameter and 2 centimeters in length from just below the right knee and analyzed it using an electron microscope, electron microbe, mass spectrometry, X-ray diffraction, and X-ray fluorescence. The statue was made of dolomite marble from the ancient Cape Vathi quarry on the island of Thasos. Margulis concluded, and the surface of the statue was covered in a thin layer of calcite, which was significant. Margulis told the Getty because dolomites can turn into calcite only over the course of hundreds, if not thousands, of years. In other words, the statue was old. It wasn't some contemporary fake. The Getty was satisfied. 14 months after their investigation of the Kuros began, they agreed to buy the statue. In the fall of 1986, it went on display for the first time. The New York Times marked the occasion with a front-page story. A few months later, the Getty's curator of antiquities, Marianne True, wrote a long, glowing account of the museum's acquisition for the art journal, the Burlington Magazine. Now standing erect, without external support, his closed hands fixed firmly to his thighs, the Kuros expresses the confident vitality that is characteristic of the best of his brothers. True concluded triumphantly, God or man, he embodies all the radiant energy of the adolescence of Western art. The Kuros, however, had a problem. It didn't look right. The first point to this out was an Italian art historian named Federico Zeri, who served on the Getty's board of trustees. When Zeri, who served on the Getty's board of trustees, when Zeri was taken down to the museum's restoration studio to see the Kuros in December of 1983, hello, boy. I apologize. This is Lobo. Oh, no, boy. You can't have. Where was I? When Zeri was taken down to the museum restoration studio to see the Kuros in December of 1983, he found himself staring at the sculpture's fingernails in a way he couldn't immediately articulate. They seemed wrong to him. Evelyn was next. Evelyn Harrison was next. She was one of the world's foremost experts on Greek sculpture, and she was in Los Angeles visiting the Getty just before the museum finalized a deal with Beshina. Arthur Houghton, I'd imagine that's how you pronounce his name, who was then the curator, took us down to see it. Harrison remembers. He just wished a cloth off the top of it and said, "Well, it isn't ours yet, but it will be in a couple of weeks." And I said, "I'm sorry to hear that. What did Harrison see?" She didn't know. In fact, in that very first moment, when Houghton swished off the cloth, all Harrison had was a hunch, an instinctive sense that something was amiss. A few months later, Houghton took Thomas Hoving, the former director of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, down the Getty's conservation studio to see the statue as well. Hoving always makes notes of the first word that goes through his head when he sees something new, and he'll never forget what the word was when he first saw the Kuros. It was a fresh, Hoving recalls, and fresh was not the right reaction to, let's go on to the next page, have a 2,000-year-old statue. Take a bite. Coffee. Just swish it around a little bit. Later, thinking back on that moment, having realized why that thought had popped into his mind, I had dug in Sicily where we found bits and pieces of these things. They just don't come out looking like that. The Kuros looked like it had been dipped in the very best cafe latte from Starbucks. Having turned to Houghton, "Have you paid for this?" Houghton, having remembers, looked stunned. "If you have, try to get your money back," having said. "If you haven't, don't." The Getty was getting worried, so they convened a special symposium on the Kuros in Greece. They wrapped the statue up, shipped it to Athens, and invited the country's most senior sculpture experts. This time, the chorus of dismay was even louder. Harrison at one point was standing next to a man named George Despinis, the head of the Acropolis Museum in Athens. He took one look at the Kuros and blanched. "Anyone who has ever seen a sculpture coming out of the ground," he said as he said to her, "could tell that thing has never been in the ground." Georgios Dontas, head of the Archaeological Society in Athens, saw the statue and immediately felt cold. When I saw the curls for the first time, he said, I felt as though there was a glass between me and the work. Tontas was followed by, in the symposium by Angelos de Livorios, the director of Banaka Museum in Athens. He spoke at length on the contradiction between the style of the sculpture and the fact that the marble from which it was carved came from from Thassos. Then he got to the point. Why did he think it was fake? Because when he first laid eyes on it, he said he felt a wave of intuitive repulsion. By the time the symposium was over, the consensus among many of the attendees appeared to be that the Kuros was not at all what it was supposed to be. The Getty, with its lawyers and scientists and month painstaking investigation, had come to one conclusion. And some of the world's foremost experts in Greek sculpture, just by looking at the statue and sensing their own intuitive repulsion, had come to another. Who was right? For a time it wasn't clear. The Kuros was a kind of thing that art experts argued about art conferences. But then bit by bit, the Getty's case began to fall apart. The letters the Getty's lawyers used to carefully trace the Kuros back to the Swiss physician Wolfenberger, for instance, turned out to be fakes. One of the letters dated 1952 had a postal code on it that didn't exist until 20 years later. Another letter dated 1955 referred to a bank account that wasn't opened until 1963. Originally, the conclusion of long months of research was that the Getty Kuros was in the style of the Anavios Kuros, but that too fell into doubt. The closer experts in Greek sculpture looked at it, the more they began to see it as a puzzling pastiche of several different styles from several different places and time periods. The young man's slender proportions looked a lot like those of the 10-year Kuros, which is in a museum in Munich, and his stylized bearded hair was a lot like of the Kuros in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. His feet, meanwhile, were, if anything, modern. The Kuros it most resembled, it turned out, was a smaller, fragmentary statue that was found by a British art historian in Switzerland in 1990. The statues were cut from similar marble and sculpted in quite similar ways. But the Swiss Kuros didn't come from ancient Greece. It came from a forger's workshop in Rome in the early 1980s. And one of the scientific analysis that said that the surface of the Getty Kuros could only have aged over many hundreds or thousands of years. Well, it turns out things weren't that cut and dried. Upon further analysis, another geologist concluded that it might be possible to age the surface of dolomite marble statue in a couple of months using potato mold. In the Getty's catalog, there is a picture of the Kuros with the notation about 530 BC or modern forgery. When Federico Zeri and Evelyn Harrison, Thomas Hoving and Giorgio Dontas and all the others looked at the Kuros and felt an intuitive repulsion, they're absolutely right. In the first 2 seconds of looking, in a single glance, they were able to understand more about the essence of the statue than the team at the Getty was able to understand after 14 months. Blink is a book about those first 2 seconds. So I will continue to read the next few pages. I stopped at, if you guys are reading as well with me, I stopped at page 8. The next few chapters will be about fast and frugal. That'll be number 1. So, my thoughts are, I don't have thoughts right now. I have a lot to think about at the moment. What are your thoughts? Is what I want to know. I have my thoughts and you have your thoughts. And my thoughts at the moment are I'm eating my peanut butter. I was going to say in jelly, but there's no jelly in here, although I could have put some jelly in here. But that was pretty amazing to read that. I mean, well, while I'm here, I might as well finish and chat a bit about this. I miss reading, first of all. And this is one book that I had for a very long time. Hope no one's eating right now, but I actually stopped, and there's toilet paper right there. So I didn't really finish the book. So I'm glad that I can read it to you all out there. Hopefully finish it as well. So, yeah. The first 2 seconds. Interesting. It's good. Have any of you ever heard of ASMR? Look it up. It's one of the things I'm also interested in. It's when you're eating, or you can just hear that yummy taste of the peanut butter. The softness of the bread. Yum, yum. I see there's one person watching. I'm curious to know, who are you? Don't be shy. Don't be shy at all. There's nothing to be shy about. Say hi. Say something. Hi, one person watching. Person. I'll even type it in here. Don't go nowhere. And thank you for watching, one person. I'm not here to get subscribers. I'm not here to get... I'm just here to be here in this moment. Because after today, it'll be a blink. And that's a story that I will share to the world one day, but not today. Just enjoy every moment of your life is the most important thing. Because you never know what will happen. When you get up from your seat, whether you're riding on a bus and you get up off that seat when you're at your stop, whether you exit the grocery store, whether you're making that turn off the freeway, whether you're getting up off the toilet, from the office, no matter what you're doing, everything matters. From what you're eating to what you say, everything matters in life. Everything, every movement can change the way you make life. Life is what it is. Sorry, like that. See, if I decided to go this way, that changed the path of my life. This changes the path of my life. Get it? It changes things. Maybe I decide not to go out tonight. Maybe I decide to go out tonight. The weather report said it's not going to rain. But what if it does? I could get pneumonia. Or I couldn't. I am going to see okay, I'm not even going to go there. This here is a different story. This is what made me. No, this is not what made me. This is a story here, but that's a different story. Yeah, that is something I don't talk about, and I used to talk about that story. I used to talk about that, and yep, it's like my receding hairline. Wee! Hey, look, check this out. Boop! Hey, it makes a little. I like that. I like that shape it makes. Wow. Cool. Okay, yeah. It's getting a little weird now. Yeah, nice and all cozied up in my little sweater here. Got PJs on. Got my doggies. Feels so good. Reading a book Mr. Rogers did. Wait, Mr. Rogers did. Mrs. Doubtfire. Was it Mrs. Doubtfire? Yeah, it was Mrs. Doubtfire that read a book. Hello, everybody. Anyway, I'm going to sing a song. I love singing. So I'm going to end this, and I'm going to sing a song to you guys next. Okay? So thank you for watching. And I will continue this book. I will continue. As you can see, here is a toilet paper. This is from a few years back. But yes, sorry about Shanti's hair. Oh, I'll read the back, by the way. In the tipping point, okay, I'll read from the very top. Psychology / self-help, the phenomenal #1 million copy bestseller. In the tipping point, Malcolmgladwell redefined how we understand the world around us. In Blink, he revolutionizes the way we understand the world within. Drawing on cutting-edge neuroscience and psychology to reveal the difference between good decision-making and bad has less to do with how much information we process than with our ability to focus on a few particular details. Gladwell shows how we can all become better decision makers in our homes, in our offices, and in everyday life. And then it goes on to talk about how Royalty Entertaining by Lev Grossman by Time Magazine, A Really Fun Ride, Mark Cottney by Chicago Tribune. Mr. Gladwell is a gifted storyteller able to find memorable characters and delightful anecdotes wherever he goes by George Anders of the Wall Street Journal. I knew from the first few pages of Blink exactly what I thought. I'm going to be all up night reading this by Jennifer Reese, Entertainment Weekly. If you want to trust my snap judgment by this book, you'll be delighted by David Brooks of the New York Times Book Review. And it goes on to say, Malcolm Gladwell has been a staff writer at the New York Times since 1996. He is the author of The Tipping Point, Blink, this book, Outliers. Did I say that already? I'm sorry. What the Dog Saw. Ooh, dog. I have dogs. And David and Goliath. Prior to joining the New Yorker, He was reported at the Washington Post. Gladwell was born in England and grew up in the rural Ontario. He lives in New York. I didn't know that about him, actually. Malcolm Gladwell. Also available in audio, large print, and ebook editions. Cover designed by Yuri Kim. Cover copyright 2013 Hachette Book Group Incorporated, printed in the USA. And this, when I bought it, was $17. It says /$22 Canada. I love the design in the back with the exclamation mark. I love the design in the front. White, plain. I love it. Just, blink. Just really, really plain, and just, I love this, especially the asterisks. It's just, it's beautiful, And so they're not going to, I don't know. My guess is they're talking about the statue of Kuros. And so far, my thoughts, I know I wasn't going to talk about it, but now I'm wanting to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Is they're trying to figure out if it's real or not. And then they're figuring out that, after months and months of research, that maybe they've come up to a conclusion. I mean, after a few seconds, they've come to a conclusion. I'm assuming. I don't know. Months research, and then I don't know. Something like that. No. Any thoughts, any comments? What do you think about this so far from what I've read? Would be greatly appreciated. And I can't wait to read on about it. But it is definitely amazing. So thank you for watching, and I will be singing in my next video. Cheers. Take care now.